Got another tech video for you guys and girls. First one was about ball latch replacement and installation. If you haven't seen that one, check that one out. Today we're going to be going over when your Tippmann gun won't recock itself. I'm going to use a 98 Platinum Series. It's going to be the same for all the U.S. Army guns, and the Cronus is going to be pretty similar. The A5 is going to be very similar as well. The Cronus and the A5s will have a little bit of difference. So the first thing that you should always check if your gun's not recocking, and what I mean by it's not recocking is it'll shoot once, it'll kind of sputter, but it won't recock, so then you have to recock the gun every time. Um, so that can be caused, first of all, by your tank not having enough CO2 or HPA in it, whichever you're using. So make sure that your tank is filled up. Second, if you're using a low pressure tank, such as a Ninja with an SLP reg on there, it also can cause that. I would not recommend using any SLP tanks with your Tippmann markers. Alright, so now that we've got that out of the way, let's get into the gun and some of the more technical things that can cause this issue. Alright. So first and foremost, when this happens, you're going to want to give your marker a good clean. This should be fairly clean already. So your spring fell out. Let me put it over here with my rest of my stuff so I don't lose it. You're just going to want to clean out where the rear bolt slides on both sides of the receiver. So just take a paper towel to it, clean it, make sure there's no paint, debris, or anything. And then we can do the same thing with the other side as well. Want to keep everything together so you don't lose anything. That's why I have this guy here. Holds all my loose parts. Got this here and there. And we're also going to clean off the rear bolt of all the gunk on there. So just again, paper towel, give it a nice cleaning, set it to the side. So then same thing for this side of the receiver. Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. We're just gonna, again, take a paper towel, clean out where that rear bolt's sliding. We don't want any gunk in there. So after that's done, we've cleaned out where the rear bolt slides as well as the rear bolt. We're now going to replace the O-ring on the rear bolt. This O-ring on the rear bolt can cause this problem pretty easily. If it's really worn or it's cut at all, it's going to cause this problem. So we're going to go ahead and pull this O-ring off. Got my pick. Just pull the O-ring off. Set it to the side. Got another O-ring here. We're just going to put that one on. After the new one's on, we're going to take some oil. Just got my generic oil here. Get it some oil. Alright, so those steps that I've covered right now, those are going to fix, I would say, 90% of the time when this happens. Now you're covered. So that's going to get about 90% of them done. Now let's go over some of the more difficult ones. The more difficult ones can include your drive spring being weak. So this guy. If you've had your marker for a while, this spring will wear over time. And when it gets weak enough that it doesn't provide enough back pressure to the marker, it's going to cause it to not recock itself. So if you cleaned it, you put it all back together, and it's still not working for you, I would try replacing this if it seems weak, the drive spring that is. That should fix it for you. And some other problems as well. Your sear to rear bolt connection. So here we have the sear. This is how it would be in the gun, just like this. This is where it hooks up to the rear bolt, and that's how it holds the rear bolt back. This is when it's in a cocked position. If this, where it connects, is not squared, if it's worn a lot, it'll be this edge right here. If it's worn down and it's almost diagonal, it's going to be what's causing your problem. That can also be true of the rear bolt in this edge, which is where the sear catches. If this is diagonal, it's rounded a little bit, that's going to be what's causing your problems. If that is what's causing your problems, replace both of them. Don't replace the one that looks worn, replace both of them. If you put a brand new sear in with a rear bolt that doesn't look wore, but it's a little wore, they're basically going to wear each other out quicker. So it's better just to replace them both at the same time. So then last and probably least common is going to be a cracked power tube. So we have the gun here. This black piece here is the power tube. It contains your valve. If this gets cracked, it's going to be causing very little pressure to leak out when it's pressurized. Probably not even going to hear it. And it's going to be causing that drop of back pressure. So we're going to make sure that it's not cracked at all. You can inspect it. If you don't see anything on this side at all, if it's not cracked, take the power tube out. On the Platinum series, it's pretty easy. You just take off the front receiver and pop it out basically. Some of the other guns like the older 98s or the US Army versions, they're going to have two screws that go in the other side of the receiver that actually hold in the valve and the power tube. So you take that out with your 1/8 Allen key, and then you're going to be able to see your power tube. So pull that out, check the underside of it that you can't see here, and make sure there's no cracks in it. If there are, replace the power tube. Alright, so that is everything that can cause the gun to not recock itself. So now let's get it back together so we can get everyone back to playing. Throw the rear bolt back in. Like that. The rear bolt plug. The spring with its buffer O-ring and guide pin, as well as the end cap in like that. I did that. We need to put the cocking knob in first. Right like that. Put that stuff back in. So now we're going to put in the sear, reinstall the sear, like that. And then our sear spring that popped out in the beginning, make sure that guy goes back in. And I normally do the sear spring last. It's got the most tension on it, and it can kind of shoot out on you like it's trying to do on me now. So I always put that in last so it has the least amount of time before I put back on the receiver. Alright, so everything's back in. Now it's time to just put it back together. I'm going to slide the receiver back on. And then we're going to tighten up our bolts. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comments, as well as if you have any other tech videos that you'd like to see us make. If you like this video, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel for future tech videos. Thanks.